Welcome back to Turtles Hot Rods. Today we're working on my 1978 Suzuki Cafe Racer once again. Today we're going to get the brakes to work. We're going to start on the exhaust, and we're also going to continue working on the seat and other parts of the frame. Let's get to work. My Amazon special brake hose came in, so you can't really get factory replacement parts for these bikes anymore, but you don't really need to. Since I'm lowering the handlebars so low, the stock brake line sits way the hell up there. We don't need that. We're going to use this little guy, about 12-inch piece. I just measured. That'll go on there. That'll fit really nicely. The fittings line up. It's a good brake line. I'm going to get it, put it on there. And then I'm going to try to bleed the front brakes. And if it works, if nothing else is broken, this will be really cheap fix. Well, I got a problem. It's minor, but I won't be able to bleed these brakes up tonight. I'm starting to get a feeling. You can see where I hit resistance, but the lever goes all the way in. But look at this. That bleeder is as tight as I can get it. 8mm, 6-point socket. It does not want to move any tighter. I'm scared I'm going to snap it. And get it dry. I'm going to squeeze the lever. Watch that bleeder screw. So I'm sitting here pumping it. Look at that. I know it's really shaky. But fluid is coming up through the bleeder when it's completely tight. Alright, I pulled out my bleeder screw. I'm going to take it to Advanced Auto Parts or O'Reilly's and see if I can get a new one. I bet they'll have it. Focus, camera. You see how it's kind of worn out? It's kind of cone-shaped or mushroomed a little bit. It's not supposed to look like that. It's supposed to be a straight cone shape, and it screws in and seals at the bottom of that caliper in a concave shaped thing with a hole at the very, very bottom, and that's where the fluid comes from. So whenever you raise it up, fluid goes in these two side holes and then out the top. And that's how a bleeder screw works. A fun fact, you can use a pencil. You shove the eraser in the hole and it'll keep you from losing all your brake fluid, because it took me like an hour to bleed the brakes last night and get all the air out of the system. And now that there's no air in the system, it just wants to run out. And shove a pencil in it. Keep me from having to bleed the brakes again, hopefully. I got the part. I think this is them. I'm going to go ahead and try and get them installed. You see the total there, $13.89. I got some hose clamps and the brake bleeder screws, so I'll add that price, that total price, to our overall total so far for the motorcycle. I'll put that on screen right now. And again, my goal, if I can, is to keep it around $1,000, but my maximum budget is $1,500. All right, brakes are bled on the front. You can see they work really well. They don't fully lock the front tire. If I hold the brake and I shove the bike forward hard, the tire will move maybe a 1/2 inch of rotation, a 1/4 inch of rotation. It's not much. So this is just, in neutral, just going back and forth. And then I'm barely putting any pressure on the lever. And the tire can move. It can rotate forward and backward a little bit, but the bike isn't really going anywhere. So I actually added 1.5 inches of height to this wood because I forgot that I'm going to need to save space for seat cushion material. And I figure probably 1.5 inches or so for seat cushion material, and then the rest of it can be my back piece here. And I'm looking at that. It might be too big. I don't know. It probably will look okay once the seat's on there. But boy, I don't want to make it too big. I mean, I decided I'm going to make it out of fiberglass, so if it is too big, I'll just make another one. It's not that big of a deal. But this seat bottom, I really like. I kind of trimmed down some of the front edges right here with my little belt sander, and so that it fits nicely up against the frame. And I'm about to take these two pieces of metal and bend them into little ears that will screw into the bottom of this wood plate. And then I'll drill holes in them where they line up in the center of this hole. And I'm going to weld a nut to a washer and then weld the washer to this pipe with the nut inside of there. And it'll basically make a bolt hole that's threaded. Put this plate on there, bolt it on, bolt the seat on. There we go. That worked out pretty nice. I will cap off the bottom, but it's getting pretty late. I'm gonna head home, go to bed, and you can see how that works. I now have a threaded hole that I can put a 5/16 bolt into. I'll use these bolts for mock-up, but most likely in final assembly, I'll probably put a stainless steel bolt in there with a lock washer, because that's one of those things you don't want to vibrate loose, have your seat come off. In addition to having the bolts at the back, I'm also going to put some little hooks right in here, a loop here and a loop here, and then I'll have some kind of a metal hook on the front of the seat here that is going to go, and you'll slide it forward, and that'll hold the front down. Just something to keep the front from moving around, and then the back will stay right there. Here are my brackets that I made up, and I made them pretty thin. Clean up a little bit. I made them out of some thin metal, so I might remake them out of something thicker if this seems like it's going to be too flimsy, but I feel like it'll be fine. I don't see any reason why I shouldn't be able to use this. I don't know if I want to have it like that, or if I want to flip it around. Have this one over here. Whoops. Flip it around and have that one over here. You'll see how that attaches to the bottom of there. Okay, I have a piece of plywood. I'm guessing at this point, but it is about 4 3/4 inches by 10 inches. I guess that's 1/2 inch plywood. I'll take it and set it on the mounts for the foot pegs and try to get it as flat as I can. Leave a good bit of meat on the bottom, because this is going to be a template for the pedal. I think having the pedals here or up here is about where I want it, just by looking at it, but I don't know. Ow. So by using a hammer, you can see my indents. So I'm going to go transfer those indents and make them into holes. And then I'm going to bolt this piece of wood on. I have an idea of where my foot is going to be. So I'm going to go ahead and cut off this bottom here and leave this on the bike. And then we're going to start playing with exhaust. All right, laying down on the ground over here. And I want to get that outside tube over there, that outside exhaust pipe, right about here. Coming out right about here. I'm going to build it first, and then I'll build the rest of them one by one off of it. So if you look at these pipes, you'll notice that the inside two are lower than the outside two. So I need to get the outside two just as low as the inside two, so they're all on an even playing field, an even level. So if you look, they all have a nice curve, and then they straighten out, and then they start curving again. Well, I'm going to cut this one right there, and I'm going to add a piece of metal and then put this piece back on. You know those puzzles that you get for Christmas that you don't really want, that are wooden, and you take them apart once and you never get them back together? And you often wonder, how the hell did anybody ever put it together in the first place? I may have just found the ultimate version of that. That is a pipe inside of a pipe, okay? and it goes through the other end. I don't know how I didn't notice that before. Look, listen to this. I mean, it's like the inner is the actual exhaust pipe, and it goes through the whole thing, and then the outside is just, it's just a chrome tube cover that looks nice, I suppose. I'm going to cut up every single piece of exhaust that I have. I'm going to turn them all into straight headers, just like that, and start from scratch. I'm going to take them off, and then the pieces like this, I'm going to cut up until I have, basically, I have a straight piece here, and then a bend here, and then a long straight piece here. I'm going to get it to where I can pull the pieces out, the inner pieces out. I'm going to do this one pipe at a time. That way I don't get individual pieces mixed up with the other ones, and as soon as I get, and before I make a cut, I'm going to take a Sharpie, just like this, wipe off the pipe. So say I want to cut it right here, okay, which I think is probably about where I'm going to cut it. I got a mark right there. I'm going to put a mark here and a mark there. And those are going to be my lineup marks. So I'm going to cut this, and then whenever I weld it back together, I'll get those marks lined exactly up. And when I weld it back together, that will be at the exact same angle that it's at now. See how far I've gotten. That's using pretty much all of the straight pieces I have. Yeah, I still have this piece, and you know, that is that's about 8 inches of good straight, and then about another 4 inches or so, and then another 4 inches. So this is about 16 inches of straight, which isn't going to be enough to finish the exhaust like I was planning on doing it, which was kind of a, I wanted all 4 tailpipes to come out side by side right here, and then I was going to, if you look straight down, I was just going to slash cut it, just like that. And so you'd see 4 exhausts, and they'd all be right next to each other, cut straight. But I was only going to do that if I didn't have to buy more exhaust, because I'm trying to do this for as cheap as possible. Well, I looked around, and it's about 50 bucks to get a 47-inch piece of stainless steel, 1.5 inch diameter, but it's about $50 to get a 7-foot piece of regular mild steel that's 1.5-inch tubing. And I'm gonna paint this anyway. So I'm gonna get 7 feet of exhaust. It's already on the way. I don't know when it'll be here. It probably won't be here in time for this video to get finished. But if it comes in this weekend, I'll try to finish the exhaust. So. So you saw me fully weld the left side of the engine pipes, and I have some pieces of 1/4-inch round in there welded on the top and the bottom that are just going to keep those pipes perfectly parallel. There's plenty of room between the pipe and the bottom of the engine case. Also, those are fins, so it's not actually really close to the oil pan. It's about 1 inch away because those fins are about 3/4 of an inch long. So plenty of room between the bottom of the oil case and the exhaust. This is also, all of this will be wrapped in header wrap until it gets to, behind the engine. Okay, what I need to do now is I need to get this pipe here a little bit longer, and then I need to kind of make it snake over and get parallel with this one, and then I will attach it to this pipe right here, just like I did over here, where I welded some bars in between it to keep it all sturdy. And then I'll have 2 sections. I'll have a left and a right header. Baby run. I got the exhaust welded up, put it on there. It's as good as I can get it for now. My exhaust pipe isn't going to come in until Monday. This video needs to be uploaded by Sunday night. I'm going to hook up some jumper cables because I still haven't bought a battery for this whole thing. And I'm going to find out if I can get it to start. I hadn't run in a couple of weeks, and last night I stayed up, I cleaned the plugs, I got them to start sparking again. I think they were just really fouled out. The coils might be weak. We might have to replace them at some point. I don't think anything was wrong with the condenser, so I'm gonna turn that on prime and see if we can't get this thing to fire up. And if I can get it to run without jumper cables on it, I'm gonna throw the seat on there and I'm gonna back this thing up and try to ride it. I don't know how far I'm gonna go, and if it dies, I probably won't be able to get it restarted without jumping it back off. So let's see what happens. Spray brake cleaner all over half of the bike, so that's fine. Alright, let's see what we can do. Well, it started. of fuel in it. It takes a minute for that fuel to get worked down in there. I don't know if we're going to be able to ride it. It ain't running real hot. Yeah, we're gonna have to have a battery. Shoot. I don't know if the charging system works at all. Darn. Well, we ain't riding it. Well, thank you guys for watching this episode. Next time, hopefully we'll be able to finish the seat. You know, got this guy goes right here. Next time, we should be able to finish the seat, tidy up some things with the brakes. Maybe I'll have a battery by then. We'll see. And we'll get to ride it for sure. I'm very confident it needs a set of spark plugs and then carburetors need to be tuned. But once it warmed up, it sounded okay. I mean, you know, it's running rough. Ain't no doubt. But it still runs. The exhaust, you know, that was a good little heat cycle for the exhaust. It sounds different than it used to. It definitely sounds a lot more throaty. I like that. So, anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Subscribe if you want to see some more. And yeah, see you next time.